can now speak to Bassima Alghussein. She's a former Obama advisor who currently works for the Truman Project. Thank you very much for your time. What did you make of the speech then?
I think that we saw Trump do a good job, as expected, when he sticks to the speech. And also, as expected, he took credit for certain Obama administration successes, notably, number one, the economic successes, and number two, the strategy to combat ISIS.
What did he set out as the government's agenda for the next 12 months? It's an important 12 months, is it not? Because later in the year, there are going to be midterm elections. Every single seat in the House of Representatives is up for grabs, and just over 30 in the Senate.
Exactly. So during midterm elections, historically, the party in power loses 28 seats, which bodes well for the Democrats because the Democrats only need to win 26 seats in order to take back the majority, and polling numbers suspect that they will be able to do so. So we expect that the House will be won by the Democrats. The Senate is a little bit more competitive because only a third of the seats are up for re-election, and not all of them are swinging Democratic in the polls. I think going forward in terms of the agenda, Congress and the administration are going to focus on two things: immigration and infrastructure reform. And I think we saw the president try to lay out a very broad plan. He laid out 4 prongs to his plan, but in the same speech, he also used extremely inflammatory and somewhat racist language when he tried to conflate the threat of immigrants to MS-13, when we all know that's a very small minority of individuals who immigrate to the United States, just like it's a very small minority of American citizens who are in gangs as well.
Interesting you mentioned that, Bassima, because I was going to ask you about that specific example that he used in the family that he brought into the chamber. But overall, on immigration, as you've already addressed that one particular issue, do you think the Democratic Party is going to agree to the deal that he wants and give him the money for the wall in return for helping 1.8 million Dreamers achieve American citizenship?
I think Democrats are committed to protecting the dreams of immigrants to the United States and American citizens, and will work very hard to make that happen. I think $25 billion to increase border security is something that is going to be up for debate. Notably, we've noticed that, the Trump administration has changed from very strong, clear rhetoric in terms of it being a wall to being border security. And I think that that's a tacit recognition that they're not going to get a concrete wall, and it's a step back from what the president promised on the campaign trail. I think we all agree in the United States that we're not harmed by increasing our border security and that it's worth investing. Whether or not he's going to get $25 billion, I think, is up for Congress to decide, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got less than that.
OK, Bassima, we're going to play one more clip and then we're going to get your opinion on that, because Trump also addressed the fallout resulting from his decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. He said the United States should be more careful about who gets aid.
Dozens of countries voted in the United Nations General Assembly against America's sovereign right to make this decision. In 2016, American taxpayers generously sent those same countries more than $20 billion in aid. That is why tonight I am asking Congress to pass legislation to help ensure American foreign assistance dollars always serve American interests and only go to friends of America, not enemies of America.
He's using a carrot and a stick to beat the Palestinians, it seems, because he has said unless they come to the negotiating table, they will not get American aid. Aid is a foreign policy tool, Bassima. Is the president using it correctly, ethically, the way I suppose his supporters want him to, but the general American public, do they even care about issues like this?
That's a very interesting question, and I think one of the most important points that President Donald Trump failed to point out in his State of the Union address was that the #1 largest recipient of United States foreign aid is Israel. Israel accepts billions of dollars a year in aid from the United States, and my question to Donald Trump, to the president, is what has the United States received in return for recognizing Jerusalem, or rather to move the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem? The answer is absolutely nothing. And for somebody who claims to be the master architect of the art of the deal, that is one of the biggest loser deals I've ever heard of. In return for the threat of moving the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, we've received almost universal condemnation from the international community. And that's not because the international community doesn't respect the United States of America, but it's rather because the international community recognizes that there are 4 main final status issues to the Israeli and Palestinian conflict that need to be remedied by those parties. And that includes borders, that includes Jerusalem, that includes the right of return for Palestinian individuals and their families, and that also includes access to water and water rights for Palestinian individuals who are frequently denied that.
Bassima, Alghussein, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us from Washington, D.C.